Hello, everyone, and happy Wednesday. Thank you all for joining me today. My name is Trisha Thomas. I'm a partner here at Fourlane. I'm excited to get to share with you today. I'm going to talk about creating month-end close packages. So how we can create them and how we can customize them. Okay. Before I get started on today's topic, I always want to remind you guys that we do have a YouTube channel. So if you've missed any of our webinars, you can always find them on our channel at youtube.com/Fourlane. Also remember, you can subscribe to that channel. That way you get notifications when new videos are uploaded. You can also connect with us through our Facebook group. So our Facebook group name is Fourlane QuickBooks Enterprise. There's always lots of great information in that group, so please feel free to join. Also, we've started an on-demand support. Our clients have told us, we've heard the feedback that they get frustrated when they have to reach out to Intuit when they're dealing with some technical issues. So we've taken that feedback and we've created an on-demand support plan for our clients. So you can see that we can help you with issues such as software, license problem, product registration. It's easy to get set up. It's an affordable support plan. Pricing starts at $25 per QuickBooks user per month for up to 5 users. It then drops to $20 per month per user for 6 or more users, And how it works. So once we get you signed up, anytime you've got a technical issue, you just send an email to our help desk. We want you to include the details about the issue, your urgency level, and what the best time is to contact you. What you can expect from us is an email back within the hour, setting up that meeting time. That way we can get you taken care of whatever you've got going on. So if you want more information, please reach out to us and we can get you set up for that plan. Okay, as I said, today we're going to talk about month-end close packages and how we can customize those reports. But before I get into talking about creating financial packages, I want to talk to you guys about the month-end close process itself. So what is month-end close? Okay, so the process of month-end close includes several layers of tasks. So starting with making sure all of our transactions are created in the correct period, to creating month-end entries to account for things such as prepayments and expense accruals. So the goal of a month-end close is to balance each account every month. Okay, so we work with our clients, we create those processes for them. By creating a process and following it each month, you're able to identify when workflows or processes aren't working. This gives you a chance to problem solve and work directly with your team to course correct where needed. And then you can customize those financial reports for the management team so they have the tools that they need for making decisions. So next week's session, we're actually going to dive into the details of the actual balance sheet reconciliation process that we recommend. So please plan to be there for that one. I promise you'll walk away with more streamlined processes that will help take away some of the manual work your team might be doing each month. So I get asked by clients, does it really matter whether I close my books every month? And what they really want to know is, why is it that we recommend? Why is that important to close every single month? So if you think about, especially with today and things that our clients are dealing with businesses, it's very important that businesses can trust their financials. They need to have an instant insight into their financial standing. That way they can make quick, informed decisions to switch how or what they're doing business to make sure they can keep their doors open. So month-end close processes allow companies to be able to forecast for cash flow needs. This lets them track making sure that business is trending in the expected manner. So you can also easily identify which areas of the business might need changes in spending. So by reviewing all account balances each month, you can stay on top of any changes and make data-based decisions instead of wild guesses. But no one wants to find an unpleasant or unexpected surprise down the road because you didn't have an accurate picture of your business. So once all the month-end close process steps have been completed, we can now create our financial packages. So there's several types of financial packages as well as customization that can be done inside of QuickBooks Enterprise. Some organizations create several packages for each month or quarter end for different management departments. Now I'm going to show you how you can do that, how we can streamline that process for you. So let's hop into a sample file and let's take a look at some of the standard financial reports available, and then we can look at how we can customize them. Okay, so the majority of financial reporting is found under reports in company financials. So you can see you've got your standard profit and loss all the way going down to your profit and loss by class. You can look at your income and expenses for your customers and vendors, and then our balance sheet for our standard in detail and some comparisons all the way down to our cash flow. So let's start with our profit and loss by class. So when we think about as a company, we're going to sell a product, we're going to perform a service. Sometimes we decide we're going to have multiple revenue streams inside of our company, and we want to be able to track those revenue streams. We want to have that insight into each of our revenue streams or our locations or our departments to make sure that we are hitting the goals that we've set as a company for our income and expenses. And that's what this report allows you to do. So you can see in this sample file that they are tracking different revenue streams. So we've got our revenue streams listed here. We've got our GL accounts listed here. And then, of course, you've got your activity. So we can see with this report how each division of our business is doing. And so when we think about different department heads that might be responsible for these divisions, we can customize these reports for them. So coming over here to Customize Report, you can see that I can change my date range. I can change how I'm seeing the report from cash versus accrual. I can add sub-columns to this report and see how we did previously. And the one that I see clients, when we talk about customization a lot when we're using the class list, is they want to be able to see specific classes or divisions. So we can do that by the Filter tab. And when I type in and I say I want to see my classes, so right now you can see the report is showing you all classes. So if I drop down and I say, you can see now that I have the list of my classes, so I can say, just show me automatic pull systems. And you can see that now my report is showing me just how I'm doing in this revenue stream. Okay, so I can take it even a step further and I can say, I just want to see how my equipment sales against my materials are. So I can customize and I can come in here, come back to that filter tab. Right now you can see that it's showing all income and expense accounts. I choose that and I say, I just want to look at specific accounts. So we're going to choose multiple. And it gives me a drop down of all of my GL accounts. So I'm going to come down to my income and I'm going to say, I just want to see my equipment sales and I want to see it against my material costs so that I can see how I'm performing. So you can see how much I was able to filter that report to give me the information that I need to make decisions on how we continue in this revenue stream. Okay. So one of the great things that I really love that QuickBooks does is allows you to memorize these reports. So when you think about all the customization that goes into the reports, and if you're creating packages for different management teams, It can sometimes become a lot of work and a lot of manual work if you had to do this every single month. So QuickBooks has a feature that's called Memorize Reports. So you can see that I can name the report what I want. And then one of my favorite features is it has report groups. So when we think about different management teams and what they need to see, we can create a group by those different management teams. And that way we can save this report in that group. And then it's really easy just every month. Once those month-end close process steps are completed, I go to my memorized group, I go to my memorized report, and all I have to do is change my date range because it saved all of my customization. Okay, so memorized reports are under reports, and then you've got memorized reports. And so you can save the report as just a memorized report, or these are my different groups. These are standard inside the file. So I can create a management group and I can have all those reports that I need for that team to create their month-end close packages. Okay, so coming on down, let's just take a look at the profit and loss standard report. Okay, so this is how the business is doing as a whole, including all of those classes. And again, we've got some great features for customization. So I can choose to see this by quarter. So I'm going to say my date range for my full year, and then I want to see how the business is doing by quarter. So now I can see per quarter how I did in income and expenses to make sure my business is trending in the way I expect. Maybe there's a revenue stream that I want to focus on because we're not seeing anything. So for example, for repair service, for the second quarter, we didn't have any revenue. So that helps us, let's figure out why. Do we need to spend more in marketing? Or is this a service that we're really spending more money than we're actually making and we no longer want to offer repair service? So this allows companies to really make quick decisions by creating these packages and giving them the data that they need. Okay, so coming on back to my customization options, I'm going to change it just for the month so I can kind of show you what we can do. So I can show previous period. So what this is showing me, let me let it catch up. So what this is showing me is how we did from December 15th. And we can go ahead and change it for a month. So you can see I did my full month now. So this is how we did for this period that I just closed against last month's period. So again, what we're looking for, are we trending in the correct direction? So we can see we had a big jump at our equipment sales. So this is a great, time to celebrate. Like, what did we do? Because we want to make sure we continue what we did because we had this big jump. Okay, so that helps with that discussion on, hey guys, what changes did we make? Because we want to continue those. Okay, so we can say instead of previous period, maybe we want to look at how we did last year. Okay, so we can see how did we do December this year compared to December last year, and what is our percentage change? So again, that's giving us that data. That's helping us make decisions on how we can continue to grow our business and making sure that we're trending in the way that we would expect, or we need to make changes. Okay, this is really the customization that QuickBooks has is really nice and really gives you that bird's eye view that clients are needing. So let's take a look at our balance sheet and show you that you've got the same options here. So this is our balance sheet, and when we go to our customization, we can see that again we can do it per the year so that we can see by quarter how the business is doing. We can say show me previous year. So now what it's showing me is not only how we did for the quarter, but we can see how we did last year for that quarter. Okay, so really great. Again, you need to have data to make decisions, and QuickBooks gives you that data. They give you the tools that you need to do that. Okay, so when we think about what might need to be included in a financial package, you need to think about what would help with making decisions. That usually includes the details of accounts. Okay, so when we think about, we've got our standard package that would normally include a balance sheet, a profit and loss, but we also want to go a step deeper and we want to include the details. So for example, if we take a look and we include our accounts receivable report, what this is allowing management to do is have a bird's eye view of what they can expect in cash. So what are we coming up that we can expect in cash, or what can we have our teams focus on collections? If we've got balances sitting out there over 60 days, this can help us focus on getting that money in, getting that, invoice closed out so that we have those funds that we need to maybe grow our business. Maybe we want to start a new division. Okay, so the same with our accounts payable. So this allows business owners to see what's coming up due. So when I'm making plans for making a big purchase, I have to keep in mind, what do we have outstanding in our bills before I make that big purchase? Okay, so this allows part of your package, you want to include these type of details. So the same, our inventory evaluation summary. So if we think about, we've got a big project coming up, we want to see what we have on hand to see if we need to go and purchase anything so that we can fulfill this package. So this allows them to see, as of this date, here's what we have on hand, here's what we have, for that asset. So these type of reports are your supporting documents for your month-end balance sheets, and they should always match. So our asset value for our detailed reports, for example, an inventory valuation summary, should always match what our balance sheet says that we have in inventory. Because if these two reports don't tie, you now have to decide which one is your truth. So we always want to make sure, as part of our month-end close, we're ensuring our balances, our supporting documents, tie back to our balance sheet. We call that a reference financial package, where we are providing all the details. We're providing the statements for our statement accounts. We're showing everything ties back to our balance sheet, and this is the number that we can use for how our business is doing as of month end. Okay, so other reports that might be included in your financial package is the budget versus actual report. So this is a really great report to create, to where what this report allows you to do is, you think of getting close to year end, you start having those department heads create what their budget is going to be, what they're expecting to receive in revenue, what they're expecting to spend in their expenses. And so inside of QuickBooks, you can create that budget, and you can see that you can do it per GL account. So we can have, what are we expecting in our different revenue streams, our different cost, all the way down to our overhead expenses. And what this report allows them to see is, did we hit those goals? So for example, we expected for January to hit $20,000 in revenue. We had a big miss of $9,000. So this allows some discussion around, what do we need to change so that we can hit that budget? As well as, okay guys, not only do we need to hit our budget for next month, but we also need to think about, how are we going to recover this $11,000 miss? So this gives them that bird's eye view of, here's what was expected versus here's how we actually did as a company. What changes do we need to make? Okay, so you can see here, I can customize this report also. So right now, the standard setup is it showing it per year, but I can absolutely say, show me just for the month. So if I do this, and I can say, show me for the month, I can, if I don't want my differences, I don't have to have that. So now what I'm showing is just for the month that I'm closing, what it looks like. Looks like we've got a little bit of a lag. Let's let this catch up. Okay, So this is showing that how we did for that month for our budget versus our actual, so that we can really focus on per month how we're doing. So again, having that decision making right there in front of us, the data doesn't lie, helping that management team make those decisions. So another report management might want included is the cash flow report. So under company and financials, it's called, you have your statement of cash flows, and then you have your cash flow forecast. So when you think about cash flow forecasting, so this involves estimating your future sales and your expenses. So a cash flow forecast is a vital tool for your business because it'll tell you if you have enough cash to run your business or expand it. It's also going to show when more cash is going out than is coming in. Okay, so you can see it's broken down, and per week, this is what the activity in the file is. So our accounts receivable, our accounts payable, our bank account, and then it goes all the way to show you what the projected balance is based on that activity. Okay, so I'm going to kind of take you back, show you where I got here. So this was under reports. This is under company and financial. And then you've got your statement of cash flows and your cash flow forecast. Okay, so the cash flow forecast allows you to see the activity at your accounts receivable, accounts payable, and bank. And then it gives you that projected balance. Now, I will tell you, the cash flow forecast does not have much in the way of customization. So this is standard built in of what your default is. And so sometimes we have clients that they want to be able to pull in different balance sheet accounts, different assets, different liabilities for their forecasting or their projection. And since this is not available inside of QuickBooks, what we work with our recurring clients is we actually customize a cash flow forecast or projection model outside of QuickBooks using Excel, and we include that as part of their package. So if you're running into a situation and the reports are just not giving you everything you need to make decisions, we can work with you on that. And that way we can build the reports that you need so that you have that financial package that your team needs to help them make the decisions. Okay, so as you can see, there's lots of reports that can be customized and included in a financial package based on that management team and what they need to see to make decisions. So if you need help with creating these packages, please reach out. We would love to help you get your accounting file structured in this manner, set up so that you have these streamlined processes to not only close your books every month, but to create the financial reports that you need to make decisions. Okay, so I'm going to come over to our questions section, see if we have any questions. If we don't, I've got a couple of more minutes so we can look at a couple of more ways that we can customize reports. Okay, so one of our questions is can they get a link to this recording? And absolutely. So remember that all of our recordings, we put them on our YouTube channel. So that YouTube channel is that YouTube/Fourlane. We always get everything uploaded. That way you can always see it, so absolutely. And then next question is, sometimes I can't find the recorded one on YouTube channel. Okay, so we name them, what the topic is. And if for some reason you ever can't find one, please reach out to us. We would be glad to, give you that link to that YouTube. Sometimes it takes us a couple of days to get them uploaded. So, but please reach out. We absolutely, will get that over to you. And then how did you do the P&L budget versus actuals? Absolutely. So at the beginning, the first thing you, of course, want to do is under company, and you want to actually create your budget. So under planning and budget, we have our setup budgets. QuickBooks allows you to create your budgets by classes if you're using that. So you can absolutely do that. But basically, creating a new budget, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually enter our information. So it helps you out if you're expecting the same amount of revenue every month. You can use your copy across, but this is our first step to get it in the system of per GL, what are we expecting? Okay, once we have that, to actually run that report, it's listed under reports and it's under budgeting and forecasting. So you can look at your budget overview. I'll show you that one. So this is just our budget. So this allows you to finalize it. Once we get it in the system, send it over to that management team that's responsible for that budget. Make sure everything looks good. And then now each month we can actually run the report under budget and forecasting, and it's called budget versus actuals. And then as I showed you, it's standard to show the whole year, but we can customize it and we can say, show me just the date range that we're looking for. And that way you can include that as part of your month-end close package. Okay. And then how do you have the blue column on the left-hand side? So that's part of your view. You can change it under your preferences for how you look at everything. You can change your color. That's all a preference when you come under your preferences. You can also here, I do the open window list. That way, when I have different reports, I can go back and forth easily, and that's under my view. So that's my open window list. And then here's your top icon left. So this is where everything is over here. Okay, and of course you can customize it and show. So there's that one. And then how do you filter out zeros or no zero balances on a report? So when you see zeros, this is the question is regarding accounts receivable. So when you see zeros on your report, so right here, this Karen D, you see a zero balance. What this is saying is that there is a transaction created in the system that would offset the invoice and credit memo in this, but it hasn't actually been done. So both of these transactions are still standing out. They're considered outstanding in accounts receivable. And all that needs to happen is you actually need to go and offset the credit memo with the invoice so that they are closed out. Okay. The next question is, I haven't seen last week's recording on bid packages yet. And then, oh, sorry about that. And so I don't think it's been uploaded yet, but I will confirm that for you and we'll get you that link for that one. And then, oh goodness gracious, it went down. We have lots of questions. This is very great. And then someone said creating a bid, and then if only budget for the year and not by the month, where do you enter the budget? Okay, so I went over that one, but just in case, I'll go right back. So that's under company and under planning and budget, and that's setting up budget. Okay, so I've got all the questions answered, but of course, if you guys have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We can always hop on a call, help you out. Of course, we've got clients. If you want us to take a look at your file, give you some feedback on what's going on, we would love to do that and be that support for you. So just reach out with whatever is going on and we can get you up and running in the manner you need for your file. Y'all have a good rest of your day and we will talk to you next week. Thank you.